freely programmable computer was invented in 1934 by Konrad Zuse of West Germany. Since then, computers have dramatically expanded their capability in the way of information and the way it's stored, created, and passed on. Businesses have found a way to harness that type of new technology, and in that, my claim is computers make business work faster, but with greater complexity. I will lay this out in four supported claim facts of this section. The first one is the word processor. The word processor, formerly known as the document preparation system, which the term was invented by IBM in the 1960s. What it entailed basically is a uniform way of housing text and formats. It was later improved by the program called Microsoft Word, which came out in 1995 and is greatly expanded. Later on, the next Excel, another program that has allowed businesses to expand in data structure and formulas. What basically it allows is companies to store data into columns and rows, and in doing that they can create mathematical formulas to come up with charts, diagrams, and statistics to allow people to save time, because it may take an hour to come up to solve a formula of 50 values, when you can put it into a program and do it in half the time. PowerPoint presentations are another great advantage. Many of you guys do PowerPoint presentations for a lot of your classes. It gives visual references, similar to what the posters did. But in doing this, you are saving paper. And according to Brother.com, the Brother DHCP black and white laser printer 7020, it costs 1.5 cents per page to print on 8.5 by 11 mate sheet paper, standard paper like this. In doing that, you are saving cost and time that it takes to go print and leave it there to print and then come back and pick up. The next point is storage information. A piece of paper, one piece of paper doesn't look like much, but 2,631 pages can fill a file cabinet drawer with a depth of 25 inches. That's 100-pound glossy coated paper with 0.0095 inches thick. There's other ways of storing it. With the computer world available now, there's things called databases now, which can store all that inside a computer, inside a small box. There's databases called MySQL, which are free to download and install. And instead of buying a file cabinet, you can now download a program and store it all in one place. And in doing that, goes on to my next point, keeping data information up to date. Multiple copies of the information have to be handed normally to another person, and they get changed, and eventually someone gets it and has to input it all into one place. Well, with the new system of synchronization, it allows every user to access that database and update it instantly, and everyone will have the same content available. In doing that, systems like calendars, tasks, company data are all available and all synchronized into one location and always up to date. And it allows people also to keep reminded of the different technologies available. The postman. The postman to most people comes around every single day, except Sundays in the U.S., to drop off your mail. Well, with the world of internet, you don't have to pay that 69 cents for the 2009 postage to send out a postcard or a mailing. If it's bigger, they charge you more. There's such thing as email, such as MSN, Yahoo, AOL, Gmail, all free programs which you can send I'm sure you're aware of, you can send out text and what they call attachments. That is basically a piece of paper, but in a file format and attached onto an email for free, and it doesn't cost you anything. My last thing is the World Wide Web, the World Network. It's basically one large network that combines everything together across the globe. It allows for live news and information to be passed across quickly with no trouble. My claim is computers make the business work faster with greater complexity, and that's it.
All right, John, you labeled the claim. It's got two parts. I'm not sure there's much dispute on it. At the end of the speech, it really sounds like your argument is about productivity and how much more efficient we're likely to be because of computers, but none of the data that you present talks about productivity per se in any measurable way. It talks about how these things ought to work or what they are supposed to have accomplished, but there's no measurement of them. For example, you mentioned the whole thing about file cabinets and storage space and how much it costs per page to print things. So are people using less paper than they were before computers were widespread? Are fewer file cabinets being sold and filled? Is there are fewer hard copies that are being passed around amongst the population? Has our level of productivity on the job gone up? We don't have any measurements of those kinds of things. The contents of the speech sound like they are not claims, but they're signposts of ideas, and they need to be stated as declarative statements. The examples that you have are almost all hypothetical. You did have the one statistic on the cost of the paper, but there's no authoritative opinion about what impact this has had on business productivity, for instance, or even academic institutions. I'd be happy to give you some of that. I mean, I'm much happier that I'm not having to pass out hundreds of copies of evaluation forms and stuff like that, I used to have to do. This has been a good deal from my point of view. On the other hand, here I am still handling 5, 6 pieces of paper for each person for each speech, so I'm not exactly sure that my productivity has been dramatically changed in that regard. So, but I'm just one example. You need some more data on those particular points. All right, thank you all for being patient and letting us get in that extra speech. We'll see you all on Thursday, ready to go.